Hi everyone, and welcome back to our alpaca farm apiary, which is where we've got our ongoing series of videos for our Honeypaw season-long sponsored series. We're here today to carry out just some general inspections, but if we spot some queen cells and we feel that we can make some splits, then we might divide up some of the colonies. And we're also interested in taking another look at those plastic frames that we've inserted into some of the colonies to see how well or not the bees have taken to those. If you haven't yet seen the earlier videos, then do pop back and look at the playlist showing the full series. And Honeypaw are a product that we've used for several seasons now. I really like them, and I'm very grateful to Honeypaw for sponsoring this series of videos. If you've got any questions, then drop me a message via my website. You can contact me via my Patreon page, or you can contact Honeypaw direct, and I'll leave all the necessary links in the description beneath the video. So let's take the camera through into the apiary, get our smoker lit, and see how the bees are doing. So we've got our Honeypaw hive here. We've got the ventilated floor and a deep brood box. I've already taken the roof and the two supers, the mediums that we use for supers, so they're similar to the Dayton mediums. And really, although the sun has been shining, it's quite a chilly day today, so we're not going to waste too much time in the brood box. I just want to check for queen cells. The bees are a little bit on the grumpy side, as you would imagine, because it's quite cold, and we don't want to leave them out of the brood nest unprotected for any period of time. So we've currently got about a super, 3/4 of a super full of honey. We've got eggs and brood on this frame. So this is the outside frame. So the queen is laying really well. I can't see the queen. She is marked, so we should be able to spot her, but the bees really don't like this cold weather. So we're going to try and get through them as quick as we can and try and control them with a little bit of smoke to keep them down. So I'm really looking for queen cells. We've got some queen cells at the bottom of this frame, but I just want to check before we destroy any queen cells. In fact, what I will do is, rather than mess around with them today, because it is quite cold, you see we've got queen cells here, and you can tell that they're queen cells because the queen cup has been extended, so you know that there's going to be something in there. And if I just peel it back quickly, you can see the royal jelly in there. So we need to just remove the larvae from there, and then we just crush. If you just crush the queen cells, then that's sufficient to be able to prevent them from doing anything with them. Rudimentary queen cup at the bottom there. Plenty of brood, and the brood looks quite good. Nice brood pattern. And this queen, of all of the queens in this particular apiary, this one and one other seem to have outperformed pretty much all of the other queens in this site. But they are now making plenty of queen cells. We've just come through a very chilly, wet period, and that sometimes can act as a trigger for swarming. The bees get really cramped inside the hive, and as a result, with so many bees in the colony, they decide that they've had enough and they want to swarm and relieve the pressure. Interestingly, it doesn't really seem to matter if you've got supers with foundation in on top. The bees don't seem to automatically migrate up into the supers with foundation, but if you've got drawn comb, then the bees will go up into the supers more often than they will if you've just got foundation, and that makes the drawn comb worth its weight in gold compared to frames with foundation. So once you've got drawn comb, you really need to hang on to it and take good care of it. So this is really an inspection to clear queen cells. Once the sun comes out, as it has just now, it warms up quite quickly, but it is still very chilly. It's around 11 degrees centigrade. Not too sure what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's not particularly warm. One of the places the bees will hide queen cells is down the edges, so down the side of the frame, so it's worth having a look at those. I don't know if you can see it, but in this colony we've got this one frame of plastic foundation that we put in as a trial, and they had made a little bit of a mess of it the first time I looked at it, not drawing it out in a straight way compared to the rest of the frames that we've got in, just basically using it the way they want to, but from a beekeeping perspective that doesn't help us. So what I did was, and one of the things you can do with these plastic frames I've discovered, is scrape the comb that they've built right back to the midrib, the plastic midrib, which would be the foundation, and then you can actually get them to start again, which is what we've done. And I'm hoping this time they'll have drawn it out neatly to the way we want them to draw it out. So the queen is here, just at the end of the hive tool. I'm just pointing her out the green dot. So she's one of last year's queens. And she's just wandering around looking for somewhere to lay more eggs. And so we come to the plastic frame. And I haven't yet taken this out, so I don't know what we're going to find. So they're starting to draw it. We've got some sealed cells at the top here, but they seem to be reluctant to draw it all the way around. And on this side, something similar. We've got a bit of a patch at the top here. It's a rudimentary queen cup being made there, which we can take out. And again, quite a lot of gaps around the bottom here. So we'll have to see whether they continue to pull that, or whether in fact they have done as much as they want to with it. I mean, it's not a huge success this time round, but we have got other colonies that we've put plastic frames in, and these are the plastic frames that have been coated with a little bit of wax. So we've used the roller and put molten wax onto the frame to try and encourage them on. And this outside frame, and this is how we'd like to have seen that plastic frame drawn corner to corner and looking full of stores and nicely drawn out. So that's our inspection. We've taken down all the queen cells. We can close them up. I do like these Langstroth frames. The size of the Langstroth hive generally, for me, especially with it being a poly hive, helps me. Some of you will know that I struggle with a bad back problem, and for me this means that I can actually lift frames, lift supers, move them around without too much trouble. Now this last frame needs to go in here, so we'll just shake the bees off onto the top bars so that when we put the frame down we're not rolling and destroying bees, injuring bees, causing more problems. Queen excluder can go back on, and that's our inspection complete. So we've got this this super here, which is nicely loaded up with stores. They've done a good job in here. So that's looking pretty good. So that's our 2 supers back on, and finally the roof. This is a telescoping roof, a standard roof as I call them. There is another roof which is called a migratory roof, which is the same footprint as the boxes beneath, and we'll show you one of those in another video. My thanks to Honeybee for sponsoring our series of videos this summer. We'll continue to show you the way these hives operate through this season. If you've got any questions, then please do fire them off to us using the links in the description below, and we'll catch up next time. Thanks for watching.